Howdy world. So this is going to be a brief tutorial showing how to unlock the island on Animal Crossing for the GameCube in Dolphin Emulator. Now there's a hard way to do this where you set up an actual Game Boy emulation to connect to the Dolphin emulation, but this is the easy way where you just put in a code and once you've put in the code, you're good to go. It'll work forever. So this process takes about 2 minutes. It's pretty dang quick and easy, and once you do it, you'll be good to go for good. So the tutorials will probably take that long, but I'll also stick around for just a couple extra minutes and show it working. But if you're familiar with how the island works or you're not interested, you don't really need to see that. So obviously you need to open Dolphin first of all, and then you need to go into the configuration settings. So in my version of Dolphin, I have this big old configuration button here, or you can go into the Options tab and Configuration, and here you are. So we just want to, we start off in the General tab, and we just need to go down to the Enable Cheat settings and check it on. If you can handle that task, you are off to a great start. So once your Enable Cheats thing is on, you can close this out. Now you want to do all of that before starting up the game, because I'm pretty sure once you're actually playing a game, that setting is locked in. Alright, so then you can boot up Animal Crossing. You can hear that soothing Nintendo noise. And then once you've done that, you can go into the Cheats Manager under the Tool section. So you'll want to go into the AR code tab up here, and you'll see about 8 billion codes that we won't be using. Now I have this code here, but I'm going to remove it because once you are here, you're going to want to add a new code because the code we want isn't here by default. So you'll click Add a New Code, and this is the code you want. I'm going to leave this code in the YouTube description because I assume you don't want to just copy it by hand. That would be a pain in the butt. So then you can name it whatever you want. I'm going to name it Captain at Dock because that's what it does, but you can use your creative liberty to come up with any name you choose. You save, and then it'll pop up at the bottom here. So you'll want to make sure it's checked. It should be checked as you add it, and you close. So now you should be good to go. Literally anytime you go down to the dock, Captain will be there. He doesn't block fish to my knowledge, so there's really no downside to just having this code on all the time. But one caveat, your first time using it, you'll want to close out Animal Crossing and start it back up. This is because I'm pretty sure it won't implement the code right at the get-go. You need to actually restart the game to get the code working for the first time, but once you have the code in, it'll work forever. Alright, so I'm going to start up and show the code working. So I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm in my file. I'm right next to the dock. This is a fresh file. You don't even have to finish working for Tom Nook or anything in order to access the island. You can pretty much do it fresh, like right off the train. But if everything worked, if you put in the code correctly, you enabled cheats, and all the things are checked, when you go into the island, well, the dock acre, Captain should be here. The butterfly might not be there. And that's it. You're good to go. He should be here pretty much forever, and you can always access the island whenever your heart desires. So if you have any questions, if you had trouble getting it working, feel free to leave a comment. I'm going to check out the island real quick, but if you're not interested in seeing that, that concludes the tutorial portion of the video. Now, of course, visiting the island for the first time, he is going to ask you what you want to name your island. And you only get to name it once, so think long and hard about your decision. I'm just going to name it Shanty because I don't really care about this file that much. So your character will hop in and he's going to take us over. This song takes a second. So I'm going to skip this and I'll see you back at the island. Alright, and we're pulling in here after he gave us a little sea shanty. Alright, so basically I'm just going to go over the features of the island and some of the aspects of the islander. So the island is just a 2-acre space. You have lots of flowers here for no real reason, I guess, but to make it look pretty. And you have coconuts, and you can take them and plant them on your mainland if you want. They'll only grow in the F acre, but you can plant them anywhere in the F acre, and they should grow. I mean, not anywhere, but you know what I'm saying. We have a flag here you can change. This flag is not dependent on like your design stuff, so like even if you post a design and then you change your 8 designs to something else, the flag's design will still be intact. It's unlike signs in that way. So we have our island here, and here we have a big nice perk of the island, which is the island hut or the island cabana. It starts with the default cabin wall and cabin rug, but you can change it to anything you want, and it has some red and blue aloha shirts if you want to really represent your island enthusiasm. Keep in mind these are not reorderable, so even though you get 2 of each, you might want to hang on to them because you can't get them back if you sell them or give them away. And we also have our islander. Plucky is one of my favorites. So there's 18 possible islanders in this game, 3 of each personality. And the really cool thing about islanders is that they have a unique personality from the mainland personalities. So if you're familiar with Animal Crossing, you'll know there's 6 main personalities in this game. Sweet, also known as Normal, Lazy, Peppy, Jock, Snooty, and Cranky. And while there's 6 islander personalities, and they do kind of line up, they like coding wise they line up with the main 6, in conversation they're actually pretty different. So the 6 islander personalities, and these are just fan names because there's no official names for them, would be the female personalities would be Dreamer, Auntie, and Ditzy, and the male personalities would be Stoic, Surfer Bro, and Suave. And Plucky is an anti-personality, so she would be, she's the equivalent of Peppy, but she doesn't really act like a Peppy mainlander at all. She's very gruff, very bossy, very traditional, kind of acts like an old country woman as an anti-islander. So the anti-personality is different enough from the Peppy personality that whenever they've brought an anti-islander to the later games, they never keep it as a Peppy mainlander because it's so different. They usually turn into snooty mainlanders or now Big Sister mainlanders. Now that's a personality because Big Sister is probably roughly based off of Auntie, and the new Smug personality is probably roughly based off of Suave. But there's some differences for sure. I've logged all the dialogue, and I've sort of written up some very short descriptions for these islander personalities, and I'll link that in the description if you're curious at all. But whoever you get, you can talk with them and sort of form a relationship. They don't have a ton of dialogue compared to the mainlanders, but they do have a fair amount. Yeah, so aunties are kind of tomboys, and they'll love talking about what sports they enjoy and what sports you should be playing and all that stuff while they're not yelling at you for various stuff. But yeah, and islanders will have another difference between islanders and mainlanders is that islanders will have around 8 items that they'll be looking for, and they'll tell you about them. And if you give them to them, they will decorate their house with them. Because their house starts off just with this. But as you give them more and more stuff, their house will sort of come together, their wallpaper will change, their carpet will change. And in addition to what they want, you can also give them a couple items that they haven't asked for. And so, like, if there's something you just want them to have, you can just give that to them. And it can take a while. You may have to talk to them again and again, but they will take everything. The downside is that whenever you revisit the island, they will pick one of their items and try to give it back to you. So if that happens and you want them to keep it, you'll have to just, keep the item somewhere around here and give them back to them on a later trip. I guess that's for if multiple players are playing. You can keep trading and switching things up and keep their decoration constantly dynamic and evolving. But it is a little annoying if you want to have an exact certain kind of setup with them. Okay, well that is it. I did not come up with that code. I'm going to have to look up who did and give them credit in the description. But that's basically everything. When you're leaving the island, Captain will ask you if you want to take a record of the island with you on your Game Boy Advance. And when you're using this code, you'll want to always say no, because you can't. You just can't. There's no Game Boy hooked up to transfer the island to. You would need to set up something complicated with Dolphin Game Boy Advance emulation. If you wanted to do that, that's the only way to get the island exclusive items like Wario's Wood, baseball, life ring, snow cone machine, beach chair, that sort of stuff. So unfortunately, doing this code, you can't do it that way. But that's sort of the trade-off for this being the easier method. So that's about it. Your islander will never move, so it's sort of like a permanent villager in that way, which is nice. There is a way to trade islands, but it's very complicated and involves multiple Game Boys. But that's about it. If you have any questions at all, please just leave a comment, or if you have any feedback or feelings, outrage, emotional responses, feel free to leave them below. And that's about it. Sorry for any sound issues. This is my first time recording my voice for YouTube. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy the island. Let me know if you can't get anything working. Bye.